It's a fact of modern living. We've got a lot of electronic devices on us pretty much at all times. Most of us at least carry a cell phone. Cyclists, we have a little bit more hardware, usually a GPS recorder, sometimes a dedicated MP3 player or a camera. Devices need power, and power runs out. So how do you recharge on the go? You can duck into a sympathetic restaurant and plug in while you're eating, but that's not going to give you a full charge. Another solution is to carry a battery or a power bank of some kind, and for most people, that's probably fine. But what if you're going way off the main roads, or you need to power more than one device? Enter Voltaic Systems. They specialize in portable solar power. With the help of viewers of the show, I purchased a Fuse 6W solar charger, and I've taken it out on more than a couple of my long burner days and for the Ride Across Wisconsin event, and it's impressive, but let's start with the actual basics. The unit itself weighs 600 grams, about 1.3 pounds. It has two components, the battery and the panel. The stock battery is the V15, which, if you want to get nerdy about it, 4,000 milliamp capacity, 5 volt, 1 amp output. And for the rest of us, that means it holds enough juice to recharge most cell phones to full and still put some power into your GoPro. Basically, if it's USB compatible, this thing can recharge it. Now, the battery is removable, and it works alone if you charge it up first. And you can charge it up by plugging into the solar panel or to a computer USB port. You can actually see if you're getting power to the battery because the LEDs will start blinking. Now, the panel on the Fuse 6W is mounted on a case that's waterproof. Now, I wouldn't go kayaking with it, but it worked like a champ in the Ride Across Wisconsin when we got 6 hours of rain. The back of the case has webbing on it, which attaches to backpacks or the like, in my case, my bike. Inside the case, they put some pockets to hold stuff. Now, I guess you could put a small tablet in there, but I use it to hold my cell phone and some cords and other things like that. Recharging is actually pretty straightforward. You just plug the USB cord into the battery and into your device, hit the power button on the battery, and it starts charging. So, in the real world, how well does it work? Well, actually quite well, but you gotta put some effort into it. If you're riding with the panel, you need to shift the panel around to catch the sun. I also found that the best times to get power is being 2 hours after sunrise and 2 hours before sunset. The panel itself is actually pretty tough. I'm not afraid to have a kicked up rock hit it while I'm on the road. And also, you can't plug the panel directly into your device on the Fuse 6W. You got to plug the device into your battery and then the battery into the panel. Now, at first I thought this might be a drawback, but in practice it means you get consistent power to your device even when you're going through the shade. Mounting it to the bike, that took a little bit of trial and error, but I ended up with this configuration, and it works most of the time for me. It's not Aero by any means, but if you're looking at solar panels for portable power, Aero is probably not going to be in your dictionary. Now, as far as charging speed goes, I took the panel out with me on a 2-hour, 30-mile ride along a rail trail with mixed shade and sun, and it charged about 25% in that 2-hour time. The first hour, the sun was at my front, the second it was at my back. Now, the manual says it takes about 6.5 hours to get to full charge on the Fuse 6W, and from my experiences, that seems about right. I think the most fun part of this is just riding on solar. My GPS is going to remain operational when I plug it into a battery, so I liberated a 10-foot PS3 cable, I run it along the top tube of my bike, and I power my GPS while I'm riding. It was my main plan for the Ride Across Wisconsin to have 14 hours of power on my GPS, and it worked perfectly. I felt bad for a lot of the other riders. They ran out of power 75% into the ride. It's also kind of the conversation starter. I had a really nice chat with a DNR person on the trail who loved the panel, wanted to know where to get one, because she and her husband go for long-haul hiking trips, and she was saying this would solve the problem of their phones going dead. And also during the Ride Across Wisconsin, I was accused of bringing the rain because I packed a solar panel. But the sun came out midday, all was forgiven. Which brings me to my final thoughts. This isn't a product for everyone, and for that matter, for my normal purposes, this is overkill. If you only do day trips, or at tops you do like 3-hour rides, you don't need this. If you're going to do like a one-shot long ride and you're scared your device might run out of power, you don't need this either. You can get a simple power bank, and in fact, on some of my 70-mile rides, I'll unplug the battery from the panel and I'll just take the battery with me as insurance. The V15 is a great power bank with lots of bells and whistles that's going to protect your electronics from overcharging. I could actually see this being useful for people who use their phones a lot, or they need to have portable, renewable power when there's no guarantee they're going to be near an outlet. They do make solar backpacks, but I think the Fuse panel is a little more flexible when it comes to that. Its smaller size and its weight would make it more useful to transfer from a bike to a backpack and so on. Now, when I finally get around to doing bike camping, the Fuse 6W is going to come into its own, because a power bank has become useless. It's dead weight once it's drained. The Fuse 6W doesn't. It can recharge on a sunny ride. This is a product made for individuals who, I'm going to steal a buzzword here, are going to be off the grid for days or weeks at a time, but they need to keep small electronics going. This is not a set it and forget it thing. You got to put some effort into getting the most out of your panel. Honestly though, if I were traveling cross country and I had more electronics to power, I'd probably go for the larger 9-watt panel and a larger battery just to cover my tail on rainy days. But for smaller trips, this seems just about right. And the price. Well, for a solar panel, it's actually competitively priced around $130. And it has the added bonuses of being mountable anywhere and having a decent sized power bank come with the system. As I keep on saying, this is not a thing for everyone, but if you're going to be out for a long time and you're going to be far away from the beaten trail, it's something you might want to consider. You can find out more at their website, voltaicsystems.com.